What is enthusiasm? Enthusiasm is like the gasoline to a car's engine. It gives power. How does it affect you? It can increase your imagination. It can instill a love for your work. It provides self-confidence. It strengthens your mental and physical health. And you actually spread it. So the enthusiasm that you have spreads and transfers to others. So the question is, what makes you enthusiastic? Before we talk about that, think about this for just a second. Happiness is the final object of all human effort, a state of mind that can be maintained only through the hope of future achievement. Now, what does that mean? So if our goal is to be happy and we're seeking happiness, and in order to get to that state of mind of happiness, that the only way that once we get there, that we can maintain that state is through the hope of future achievement. So it's kind of like it doesn't stop. You're never done. You never get to a place where you say, oh, I've made it. I'm done. I can relax. I'm finished. No. So every time you've accomplished something, you've got to set the next goal. Striving for it and achieving it is actually what creates happiness within the human being. So having enthusiasm for your definite chief aim can make you enthusiastic. And so we talk a lot about definite chief aim, but it truly is, it's what your purpose. And when you have enthusiasm, you can overcome any obstacle that's thrown at you. The interesting thing that I've learned as going through this Napoleon Hill's law of success is that if you are in your definite chief aim, if you're walking in your purpose and what it is that you're supposed to be doing, all the things, all the principles in his book naturally occur. So the secret is that you've got to be in your definite chief aim. And when you are, enthusiasm is natural. Now, there is such a thing as uncontrolled enthusiasm. And it's kind of like if you think back to the example of the car, and that enthusiasm is like gasoline to a car's engine. Well, what happens if you spill the gasoline? What happens when there's uncontrolled enthusiasm in a conversation? Does it not lead to whoever is spilling the gasoline monopolizing the conversation? What if the enthusiasm is towards a diversion? You can be very enthusiastic about a lot of things, but are they in alignment with your definite chief aim? And so when we talk about controlled enthusiasm, Napoleon Hill said this, that enthusiasm is a state of mind that inspires and arouses a person to action for the task at hand. It's contagious and vitally affects not only the enthusiast, but all with whom he comes in contact. Enthusiasm bears the same relationship to a human being that an engine does to an automobile. It is the vital moving force. It enables great leaders to inspire enthusiasm in their followers. It is the most important factor of salesmanship, and it is by far the most vital factor of public speaking. Mix enthusiasm with your work, and your work will not seem hard or monotonous. Enthusiasm will so energize your entire body that you can get along with half your usual amount of sleep and at the same time perform 2 to 3 times as much work without fatigue. Enthusiasm is the vital force with which you recharge your body and develop a dynamic personality. So interesting that it literally is the thing that propels you forward. So knowing that you're in your definite chief aim should naturally make you feel enthusiastic. And the other thing is to always look at your week and your days as, are you furthering your goal, your definite chief aim? Always make sure that you have spent X amount of time each day. And yes, there are diversions, and yes, there are other things that you need to do. But if you can spend time on your definite chief aim, it's going to naturally create that enthusiasm, which will help you get so many other things done. But what if you're not enthusiastic? What if you're thinking, well, I'm not very enthusiastic right now? It is a definite sign that something's wrong. And you have to step back and evaluate. Maybe you've strayed a little bit from your purpose. Maybe you've been diverted by something. So anytime you're not enthusiastic for what it is that you're doing, you have to ask yourself, what's wrong? Something's wrong. Give you a little bit of an example. This is a story about Winston Churchill, and it was when he was young. The young Winston Churchill was a profound underachiever in academics. This is interesting because in many ways he was a genius. For instance, as an adult, he could quote verbatim whole pages of material he had read 50 years previously. Even as a youth, he was able to memorize a 10,000 stanza poem. Churchill later grew into a world-class author and historian, a truly excellent amateur painter, arguably the best orator of his age, a cunning fox of a politician, and a visionary leader of the free world, all different passions. He embodied enthusiasm. There is a key to understanding his academic failure. He once said, "They kept asking me questions about what I didn't know as opposed to what I did know." Really, we all only get enthusiastic about our own agendas. Once Churchill was free to write, speak, and act upon what he did, know, and had a passion for, he went nonstop for the rest of his life. But when he was forced to respond to what others imposed, he was lackluster. So isn't this true for all of us? So my last question for you is, what do you passionately care about?